Hi everyone, I am the founder of the Grey Blind Owl. Today we will talk about one-dimensional and multi-dimensional arrays. In addition, in this lesson, we will examine the string type that we have seen before in data types. Since you do not know about arrays and loops yet, we avoided mentioning this data type, but now is the time for it. Arrays allow us to keep multiple entries in mind without defining multiple variables. In this respect, they differ from any ordinary variable. The most suitable example to understand this subject is the small boxes with organizers used not to forget our medicines. There are special medicines for each day in each eye, and in this way we do not forget which medicine we will use on which day. While this is the case with one-dimensional arrays, things are a little different with multi-dimensional arrays. This time, imagine that you are running a nursing home and you have the medicine boxes we just mentioned for each individual in this nursing home. These examples are powerful examples to make sense of the situation and contextualize why we learned about loops. We include our library, hashtag include stdio.h. We create our main function, integer main, brackets, and curly brackets. Execute, compile, and run. Okay. We create two variables for the counters, I and j, integer I and j. We define an one-dimensional array and specify its limit as 5. Array, square brackets, and 5. As you can see, array, square brackets, and 5. We define a multidimensional array and specify its row and column limits 3 to 3, matrix, square brackets, and 3, square brackets again, and 3. As you can see, matrix 3, 3, and semicolon. Okay, this is not important for now. I will mention this line after lesson. We create a for loop to get 5 numbers from the user. For I is equal to 0, I is less than 5, and I plus plus. This is our for loop. Printf, please enter the %d number I plus 1. I plus 1. The $d represents I plus 1. So I is equal to 0. 0 plus 1 is equal to 1. So the first number, this line means the first number. Okay, scanf, the $d and ampersand, array, the square bracket, and our counter. Okay, for example, this is our first element of our array. Okay, this is our first element of our array. I is equal to 0, so array 0, the first element. After that, I is equal to 1. Array 1 is our second element. And I is equal to 2, so array 2 is our third element. Okay, so we are here now. Please enter the first number. Please enter the first number. I is equal to 0 now, and scanf the $d ampersand array I and semicolon. This is our first element of array. Now I will enter here 1. As you can see, I plus plus, so I is equal to 1. 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. So please enter the second number. Enter the second number. Scanf the $d ampersand array 1 and semicolon. This is our index. Okay, I will enter here 2. I plus plus, our I is equal to 2 now, and please enter the third number. I will enter here 3. So I plus plus, our I is equal to 3 now, and please enter the fourth number. I will enter here 4. I plus plus, I is equal to 4 now, and printf, please enter the fifth number. I will enter here 5. And as you can see, our for loop is broken here because I plus plus, I is equal to 5, and 5 is not less than 5. 5 is equal to 5. So this condition is broken here. So our for loop also is broken here. Okay, now we create a for loop to print the number we just received from the user. This is the proof that the arrays hold all values in their minds and we can use them whenever we want. For I is equal to 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus. Printf, the person sign D element of the array is equal to the person sign D. So the first person sign D represents I plus 1, and the second person sign D represents array I. Okay? So I is equal to 0, 0 plus 1, our first element of the array is equal to what? Array 0, so the first element of array, because array 0 is equal to first element, so the person sign D represents array 0 for now. And as you can see, the first element of the array 1, we entered 1 here. The second element of the array is equal to 2, so we entered 2 here. The third element of the array is equal to 3, we entered 3 here. The fourth element of the array is equal to 4, we entered 4 here. The fifth element of the array is equal to 5, we entered 5 here. Okay, this was the array. This was the array. Now we create nested for loops because we have a multi-dimensional array. We have a matrix. We have 3 aged people and we have 3 medicine boxes for them. So the first for loop represents 3 aged people and the second one represents 3 medicine boxes. For I is equal to 0, I is less than 3, and I plus plus. This line for the 3 aged people, for the rows, okay, for the rows. And for j is equal to 0, j is less than 3, and j plus plus. This for loop for the 3 medicine boxes, okay, for 3 medicine boxes. Okay, this is 3 aged people, and this is 3 medicine boxes. Okay, printf, please enter the person sign D row and the person sign D column of the matrix. So our row here, I plus 1, and our column j plus 1, our column is here. Okay, now I is equal to 0, I is equal to 0. Again, a new for loop here. J is equal to 0, j is less than 3, and j plus plus. So j is equal to 0, 0 plus 1 is equal to 1. So the first row and the first column of the matrix. Scanf, the person sign D, ampersand, matrix, I for row, j for column, 0, 0. So the first element of our matrix, I will enter here 1. Okay, as you can see, please enter the first row and the second column. The row is the same because this for loop is fixed now because this for loop is active. Okay, this for loop is active now. This is not finished yet. This is not finished yet. So j is equal to 1. J is equal to 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So the first row and the second column. Okay, I will enter here 2. And as you can see, please enter the first row and the third column of the matrix. I will enter here 3. And now the second row, because this for loop is broken at the 3. 3 is not less than 3, so this for loop is broken, and our I plus plus and I is equal to 1. I is equal to 1, and this for loop again, j is equal to 0. Okay, and printf, please enter the 1 plus 1, so the second row, and 0 plus 1, the first column. So as you can see, please enter the second row and the first column of the matrix. I will enter here 4. As you can see, the row is fixed, and the column was increased. So I will enter here 5. The column was increased again. As you can see, the row was increased, and the column again, the first column, because it began again. Now we create nested for loops to print our multidimensional array. Here, for I is equal to 0, I is less than 3, and I plus plus. For j is equal to 0, j is less than 3, and j plus plus. Printf the person sign d with a space, matrix I and j and semicolon. We use new line comment to get a good display for our matrix here, because the three groups of three here, and 1 2 3 our first row, 4 5 6 our second row, and 7 8 9 our third row. So I want to separate them like that. So I use new line comment here after the columns for loop. Okay, after the for loop for columns. Okay, now we will learn how to use the string type. Here we defined the strings here: char, an array, string, and blanks, and semicolon. This is the way that we define an array, a string. Okay, we use char type, we use a name for an array, and we use a limit value. This is a string. Again, blanks, a limit value. This is a string, and semicolon. Now printf, please enter a text here. We ask for a text to the user and get it with the person sign s, for the strings. Okay, scanf the person sign s, string, and semicolon. We do not use ampersand here. Okay, we do not use ampersand here because an array is already an address. So we do not need an address, and we we do not use an ampersand here. Okay, now we print the text on the screen. Okay, we will enter a text here firstly. Gray, blind, all. And as you can see, your text gray, blind, all here. Now, if you want to use blanks, you can use fgets function. How we can use it? Fgets, brackets, and the first area for the string name, and the second area for the limit value, and the third area for the std in. This is a fixed value. Okay, this is a fixed value. So fgets, blanks, this is our string name, and a limit value 30, and std in, this is fixed. You have to use getChar function before fgets function if you want your program to work properly. Okay, we have to use that before fgets. GetChar, brackets, and semicolon. This is void type, and getChar, the brackets and semicolon. After that, fgets, blanks, the limit value, and std in, and semicolon. There are many methods to do that, but I think this is the best method for you at this stage. Here, I will enter here gray, blind, all. As you can see, there are some spaces here, and our output is the same. Okay, let's try it. Let's try it with scanf function here. Let's try it with scanf function. We use some blanks here. Okay, I will enter the same number before. Now, gray, a space, blind, a space, and all. Now, as you can see, only gray, because if scanf encounters a space, it do not get the other characters. Okay, it do not get the other characters if it encounters any space. So it gets only gray. Okay, it gets only gray, not blind, space, all. It gets only gray. Okay, this is a difference between fgets function and scanf function. This is a special situation in the string subject, and we finish our program here. Return 0. That's it for this week. Today we learned how we can define and use an array, a matrix, and a string. We will not do exercises about this subject next week because we will reinforce what we learned today in future lessons. As of today, we have completed the most essential topics of C. If you have followed our lessons so far, you are now at the stage where you can produce simple projects. Next week, we will move on to pointers, which is where C starts to get complicated. Therefore, I suggest you repeat what we have done so far. Thanks your all efforts and passions. See you following lecture. Stay tuned.